Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Soulfulpreneur Talk Radio with your hosts Rachel Archelaus and Megan Grandelmeyer. Merging spirituality and business on the Enlightenment Evolution Network.
Hi everyone, it's Megan Grandelmeyer here with Soulfulpreneur Talk Radio, and I am joined today by a special co-host. Jennifer Zulli is with me.
Hi, Megan. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. Rachel is off this week, so Jennifer is here, and she's my co-host and also my guest. We're kind of mixing it up a little bit. We're going to talk with Jennifer about her journey and how she's a soulfulpreneur and living her authentic life's work. And we're also going to talk about numerology, and she's going to teach us a few things about those hidden messages and numbers in our lives. So today is March 3rd, 2015, and we are live here, actually broadcasting from Sound Art Center in Newtown, Connecticut. And if you would like to call in and ask a question during the show, you can dial 347-308-8788, and we welcome all your questions about your spiritual business or your life purpose journey. I do have the chat open, so if you have a free account with Blog Talk Radio, you can listen to our show that way and log into the chat, and you can post a question there as well. And you can find more about Soulfulpreneur on our website, which is Soulful, and full has two L's, soulfulpreneur.com. And you can also find us on facebook.com/Soulfulpreneur. And all of our shows are archived, so you can subscribe to us on iTunes. We have ours up as podcasts. We have YouTube, Stitcher, and all the shows are also on Blog Talk Radio. So there's no hiding from us. We're everywhere. And we are part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and this is a network for all things metaphysical. And you can learn more about all the other shows they have during the week if you go to facebook.com and search on Enlightenment Evolution Network. And just so everyone knows, any opinion expressed on Soulfulpreneur Radio by hosts, guests, or any of our callers does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. So we got all of that stuff out of the way.
Fun.
So Jennifer, you're having a big year. You released your third CD last year, and you're up for a big award. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? You're up for a ZMR award.
So, I released Goddess Rising in the beginning of 2014. It was February, and it was my third release since 2010. I was very busy, an album a year. This is really special. For some reason, I fell in love with this one, and I knew it was going to be something big, but then I let it go, and I forgot about it, and then all of a sudden it kind of came back, which is great.
Wow. Wonderful. So that's May 9th. You're having to travel down to...
The ZMR Awards, May 9th in New Orleans, in the Joy Theater. So it's going to be great. Lots of amazing New Age artists, ambient artists. Great, I'm excited.
Awesome.
I'm excited. Even if I don't win, I'm just happy to go for the ride.
Yeah.
It's all about the ride.
So exciting.
Yeah.
So, and the ZMR Award, it's basically like the Grammys for New Age music.
Yeah, so basically this ZMR, the Zone Music Recording, is a place where all of, like I said, New Age, world music, ambient, electronic, chill, all of that lies. So all the international radio stations that play this music, they have to go funnel through here. So it's voted upon by the radio stations, so it's the top.
Oh, wow.
So it was not a panel of judges, it was the radio stations that play this kind of music. And the nomination is for Best Vocal vocal album. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrific.
It's special. It's a special one.
Yeah. So people can find Goddess Rising on iTunes, right?
They can find it on iTunes, or also if you just do a Google search of Jennifer Zulli, you can find me there, or my website's www.jenniferzulli.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know I have the CD and I do keep it in my car, and it's just very soothing sometimes, because I'll listen to the radio, but then when I'm done with hearing the same 5 songs over and over, I'll put on your music, and it's,
people say it's pretty grounding, and it could be because of that I changed the frequency in this particular, and we'll get back to that later.
Yes, we will.
So that could be the case. This is an experimental one, so it's very different than anything else out there.
Awesome. So you've had an interesting journey, especially over the last 7-8 years or so. And, one thing that caught my interest, because I've dealt with this issue in my family and me personally, is you were dealing with chronic Lyme disease, which is very common, especially on the East Coast of this country. And actually, it's a problem everywhere.
It's spreading like wildfire. It is,
big
unfortunately.
in Europe as well. So, chronic Lyme can be very debilitating depending on what you have, and you can have other co-infections and all that stuff. So I know you were experiencing terrible pain and all of that. So tell us how dealing with such an illness and really feeling like maybe you were even going to die from something like this led to quite the spiritual awakening for you.
So, it was back in 2007. I just had my first daughter, my first baby, and she was a daughter. And she was born right after Christmas, so it was the middle of the winter, and I had a horrible C-section. It was induced and everything that I didn't want. I wanted all natural water birth, and I had the complete opposite. So, given that, I think I went into a little bit postpartum depression, and that was hard. It was the winter. And I started to, about 3 months later, I started to pull myself out of that a little bit, and lo and behold, I got bit by a tick, a tiny little tick in my thigh, or my hip, and because of everything else that was going on with the new baby, I just didn't pay attention to it, which was not a great idea, but I didn't, and it was part of my journey. So, after maybe a few weeks later, I started getting sick and really tired, and I thought, it was because I was up all night with Grace and never sleeping, and she was colicky, and I had gone to the doctor and like, oh, you're just tired, you're new mom, go sleep. And they did a mono test for me, and it came back as mono, so I had mono.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had mono, so I was good with mono. I kept sleeping, and all of a sudden I was getting into, more pain, joint pain. I was getting headaches all the time. Terrible. It was waking me up in the middle of the night, stabbing pains in my elbows, like they were going to fall off. I mean, terrible pain. I was getting tingles all over in the middle of the night. It was really horrible. Plus I wasn't sleeping because she was still waking up. Then I had gone to other doctors, and they said, no, you're just I went to a therapist. They said, nope, you're just a new mom. Go sleep.
Did you ever mention the tick bite?
I didn't, because you know what? I had gotten bit by ticks before, and I pulled them off, and I have dogs, I live in the woods, so, Connecticut. So months later, I'm just dealing with more things are starting to go wrong in my body. I go to more doctors, and they can't figure out what's wrong. They did do a Lyme test. It came back negative.
Yep, which is very common.
Very common.
Even though it's, you have it.
But I was also taking a lot of natural supplements because, and so it could have been killing. Who knows why? Who knows why I had to go on this horrific journey. So eventually, it was about 7 months into it, I was forgetting what the word chair meant. Like, I forgot that chair was a chair. And I was driving through red lights, not knowing that red meant stop. And something was really wrong with me. So I ended up going to one last doctor, and she said, I don't care what the tests say, I'm treating you for Lyme anyway. And she gave me the test, but I ended up having Lyme ehrlichiosis. My Epstein-Barr was off the charts. Mono, I had a petri dish going on in my body. And so that was the beginning of, the journey to heal, but it was years. It took years and years and years. So I started taking the medication and the antibiotics, and I did Rife. I did everything under the sun that you can think of. But there was a missing. I just wasn't feeling better.
So you were mixing traditional with like alternative. You
Yep.
were kind of hitting it from all angles.
All angles, because it was so infested in my nervous. I mean, my heart was palpitating. It was everywhere, everywhere. Twitching, crazy. I couldn't go into like Target because the lights were bothering me. Everything going on in my body at the same time. So, the antibiotics helped a tiny bit, but that was the beginning of my journey inward. I knew that there was something more going on because I ended up starting to have dreams that were coming true, and I was able to see auras. Now I knew that they were auras. I didn't know what that was. So it did change my nervous system to become more sensitive, I believe, to everything around.
So your intuition opened up, your psychic ability.
Exactly.
With this illness.
And I was able to know things that I couldn't possibly know. But dreams were my basic channel to what was going on.
And do you think, did you have like a moment, like did you hit a rock bottom and you kind of asked God, like, take me? Or
absolutely.
Is that when you had that
opening? That's when it was. I remember doing the laundry in my laundry room floor, in the laundry room, had the laundry on the floor. My daughter was upstairs. My husband was ready to leave because I was going nuts. And I was in so much pain. I was on the floor, and I'm like, just either give me cancer, either I'll die or get better. This in-between stuff was not working for me. I mean, one day I would feel like I can actually remember a person's name, and the next day I was, completely, my body was completely off, terribly. And I really just wanted to exit the planet at that point, because this was way too hard for me to go deal with for a long time. And then I ended up stumbling on this book by Elizabeth Lesser called The Seeker's Guide.
Okay.
And I ended up reading that, and it took a long time because I couldn't focus on anything for more than like 2 minutes without my brain going weird and being in pain. So I ended up starting to try to meditate and go inward, because nothing outward was working. Nothing I was doing was working, giving me any kind of peace. So I went inward, and I started with meditating for about 3 minutes, and then lengthening it until I could do it for longer, and that was giving me some sense of relief.
Interesting. So you were losing yourself for those few minutes and focused on your higher self, and you think that brought ultimately the healing to you? Or?
That did, but also there were some words in that book, and it was by a Christian mystic. And the words were, all shall be well, in all manner of things shall be well. And that just played in my head over and over and over and over again, and it started turning into a song. And, I just went to the piano, and I just started, it just came. The song came, and I had put my music to bed for a really long time, for like 13 years.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like, why was your music not, because it's certainly a focus now, why was your music not more present in your life during that time? Why did it take this crisis to wake that up, do you think? Do you have a theory?
I do. I have many theories, but I have one. When I was younger, it's funny, I either wanted to be a composer, musician, a priest, not a priest, but a nun. Sorry, not a priest, a nun, or a doctor. Like one of those things. Yeah, okay. Very random.
You were a healer.
A musician.
A musician. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or a nun.
Yeah.
It's very random.
Yeah.
A cop kind of went in there somewhere, but that briefly popped out. That could be my fear of authority, but I'm working through that one now.
Yep.
But yeah, I played the piano since I was 5. Music was such a part of my life. My sisters were musicians. My cousins, musical theater's in my blood. We have arts running through our veins. And I got a scholarship to college, and I ended up meeting a guy, and I didn't feel good enough. My music wasn't good enough, and I let it go because it wasn't good enough.
Because the competition, that whole pressure, or?
No, I didn't feel like my music was worthy.
Okay.
And it was, you know, on the flip side, now I see that, you know, music is your soul. That's who you are. And, you know, it was because I didn't feel worthy and I didn't feel good enough. So I stopped writing.
Wow.
I stopped. And I focused on teaching, and I thought that was enough.
And
I mean, I became an excellent teacher. But
yeah. And you teach even now.
I teach now. I love teaching. Yeah, I love teaching.
So, but it was during this crisis then, that health crisis, that the music
came back.
It came back, and the song came out of you, and
I've been writing ever since.
That's
when it truly started.
I
mean, it took a while, but once I got back to who I really was and acknowledged that I'm a musician, I'm a singer, I write, I'm a composer, I started to click, and, you know,
that's beautiful.
The pathway started to unfold again. So that was back in 2000. I recorded Daimon, and that was back in 2009. It's very different from the music I'm doing now, but it was really cathartic for me. And there's a whole song about Lyme in there, and how, you know, we're more than our bodies, and
Wow. So interesting. Well, that's wonderful. So you got back into your music, and then you opened sound.
Well, there was a blip in there too.
A blip in there.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm back in my music in 2009, and I'm feeling better by maybe 2009. Yeah, I mean, this is about 2 years now after the Lyme. So I'm starting to feel like I'm on my journey. I'm a composer. I'm doing my stuff. I'm doing my life work. I am teaching, but I'm also writing at night, and then 2010 happened. So I'm meditating regularly. I had written Sonic Journey, which was an hour-long meditation, many different kinds of meditation in one. So that I thought was my life work.
Okay.
And 2010 happened, and that was another crisis that I had to go through. So within 2 months, one of my songs was pulled from a show on Sci-Fi. I was pregnant. I lost the baby. My house was robbed, and all my music and software and jewelry, and my dogs were amazed. Everything was, you know, wrecked. Then my daughter and I were hit by a car, and she had a head injury. She was 3, and I fractured my back and hurt my right leg. And then, I think I went to a little bit post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
And then I ended up breaking my other leg in like 5 spots, and ankle, and I was a full leg cast, and I was basically a puddle of jelly. I cried every day. You looked at me, I cried. You smiled at me, I cried. You laughed, I cried. For like two weeks, I just cried. I was like, what else would you like? I have given everything. What else?
Yeah.
So I knew that there was I just knew, even through my cry, there was something bigger, or something that I either wasn't hearing, or that I had to just silence everything outside and just go inward once again. And I did. I laid in my bed. I crawled around my house because we have stairs and I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. And I laid, I chanted, I toned, I meditated, and then all of a sudden a vision popped into my head, and it was that I needed to work for myself. I needed to open up a center that was incorporated arts and spirituality, the two things that I love more than anything. And the vision of the business came to me. I didn't know how I was going to even get it. I mean, I have a 3-year-old. My life is in complete disarray at this point.
Were you working, or were you?
I was off. I had taken leave because I couldn't teach. I couldn't work with all that. You know,
But you had been working.
I had been working, and you know, the
and
district
doing
gave
music on the side.
Yeah, the district gave me a leave of absence, and
And what do you think? A lot of people subscribe to the idea that you create your own reality. You're creating your own experience. So like the loss of all your music and your computer and all of that, of losing it. Was it a?
I believe you have. Sometimes I do believe you have to give up you have to be willing to give up everything.
Yeah.
To get everything. To fully live. And I don't think we can be defined by
stuff.
No, or even what we do. In a way, yes, but not really. we're just as beautiful being on stage in all of our glory as we are as a naked puddle of nothing on the floor. Yeah. We're equally as beautiful and loved by the earth and the universe. And as I was on the bed crying, and I had this vision, that was either that night or the night after, I had this vivid dream of walking into a church with Grace, my daughter, and a little boy. And I was being pulled to the front by Beethoven, nonetheless. And I love Beethoven. And he wanted me to get the piano upstairs, and it was one of those vivid dreams that you will never forget.
Yeah, like it hangs with you. I always think the ones that you still can picture so vividly versus those dreams that just kind of are fleeting. They might be impactful, but they leave.
Right.
One I bet you
was
can
a
still imagine.
Huge light. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I heard Grace crying in the middle of the night on the other side, and I woke up. Had she not cried, I wouldn't have remembered it. Turned on my light. The light blew. So there was so much energy in that dream. And then lo and behold, 2 years later, I buy a church.
By a church.
And there's a piano upstairs, and I have a little son. I have a boy.
And you have a boy. And this church is really only a few miles
around
from where you live.
I pass by it every day,
which is amazing. So
divine.
The interesting thing about sound is it's in Newtown, Connecticut. And you had quite the grand opening in that, tragically, Newtown is part of, Sandy Hook, Connecticut is part of Newtown, and everyone will remember that we had that tragic shooting here a couple of years ago where we lost 26 people, 20 kids and 6 teachers in this mass shooting. And, this center is only a few miles from that school, and you were opening that weekend, right?
I had my planned date of opening. I remember, I'll never forget, I was putting in, they were digging the sign, the sound sign in the ground the day that I got called, that I called for my daughter was in lockdown.
Yeah.
And she's in that grade, and I was opening the next day. I had half the town coming, and all my friends were coming for this great grand opening, and
so the timing there is just fascinating, isn't it? That this healing center went in
at that exact time.
Within hours.
Within hours.
Yeah. So.
That was. I believe everything is in divine order. Everything.
Yeah. That one I still struggle with. That whole tragedy in this town. I grew up in Newtown.
I know.
Yeah, and
it's an interesting place.
Yep, it is. Well, anyway, so you've got sound, and I love that you running this business. And tell us just a little bit how it works, because I know how it works, but other people do not. It's a beautiful space, and you hold events, and you have practitioners that do what kinds of.
So we have a space to do workshops and events and ongoing classes and special events. Last year we had Sonia Chiquette come, and where you have some bigger names and we have some smaller names, and we have the gamut. Then we have regular classes and classes for little ones and families, and then we also have a wellness center downstairs. We have we have a naturopathic oncologist, we have Reiki masters, we have a hypnotist. We have mediums. We have all sorts of wonderful.
So it's wonderful. So I just love it because it fits the soulfulpreneur aspect of why we do this show, which is that you can make a living doing what you love and being in this kind of spiritual world. And for you, you're creating space so that others can do their work in addition to you being able to do your own and teach here. So it's wonderful.
That was the whole thing. It was just so that other people could find who they were, and it was really to provide that sacred and supportive space. Too.
I think it's an awesome thing. So
this is really special. I also think it's a portal. So everything is heightened here when you do everything. You see energy and glitter, and it's a really, really special place.
I know. I teach a class here. I teach your psychic development for beginners class, and interesting things happen during that class. And there's always sparkles. Things zipping around.
Who knows if it's the wedding chapel and it was built by the congregation. It was literally rolled here from the next town over. It's great history. who knows? It's on Indian ground. There's, so many reasons why, but it is definitely not just a regular center. It's super special.
Yeah. So awesome. So we were talking a little bit before the show, and I said to you that today is the 33rd episode of Soulfulpreneur, and you said,
33.
Yeah, it's a power number. So I love that one of your favorite things to keep learning about is numerology. And it's not something I know a ton about. I've learned some from you, and I definitely want to learn more. So I would love to talk to you about that. What attracted you to numerology, and how did that get going?
Yeah, well, let's just be clear. I'm not a numerologist, but I love numbers, and I love energy and vibration, and everything is energy and vibration. And numbers have been around here since the birth of us, because one is it, it's from one. I actually used to see numbers a lot when I was a kid and pay attention to them when I was younger. I used to add up numbers and license plates, and I just was gravitated to numbers. I did like math, and music and math and rhythms are all intertwined. And Bach was big into numerology too.
Really?
And I loved playing his, all of his stuff.
I played a lot of Bach. I played piano. Yeah.
Very big. Yeah. He wrote a lot based on numbers.
Simple things, simple pieces too, like that. Students learning could play, which were beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. And what I don't remember. Let's see. Let's go back. All right. So it was after Lyme, and I started to get into the healing mood. And I did notice that I was seeing a lot of 1111s, like everywhere. It was either in receipts. I was seeing it a lot on the clock. 1111s were coming, and I just didn't know what it was, but I put it in the back of my mind. And then I just I forgot how I even stumbled. It could have been a book that probably plopped into my lap.
They have a funny way of finding us.
Oh, they do. Like falling off a shelf and hitting you and tripping on them, yes. So that could be it. So I started reading, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And I started, doing my own numbers, and then the numbers of people in my family, and then I was hooked. I was doing when I couldn't sleep at night, I was picking people's birthday and doing them in my head. It was really therapeutic for me. And I was like, wow, there's something to this. People's personalities were really jiving with what I was reading about numbers. So I just started to become a numerology junkie.
Okay. It's ancient. It has ancient.
Oh, So the Chinese, the Japanese, the Greek, the Hebrews, the Egyptians, the Phoenicians, Mayan, Incas, they all employed number systems. And they did this to gain a deeper understanding of themselves and the universe. And it's been around forever. It's in nature. It's everywhere. It's in the universe.
Yeah, we have the biggest Pi Day coming up here.
Ooh.
March
Pi Day,
14th is 3.14. And Pi goes on down, but there's something about this year, and I don't know enough.
3/14/15.
Yeah. There's something with the sequence, and it's not going to happen again for like 1,000 years or something. I'll look it up, and we'll post it on our Facebook page.
Good.
There's something big about Pi Day. We should have had you on.
I should. But the numerology that I love, there's different types, but this is more of the Western form, and it was developed by mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras. We all know him by the Pythagorean theorem. Yes. So he created this system, and he combined the mathematical disciplines of some of the ancient and wisest cultures. And he was born in 582 BC, and he left and he studied in Egypt, and he also studied the Kabbalah, which is huge in numbers too. There's tons of information about numerology in the Kabbalah.
What is the Kabbalah? I'm sorry. For those people that don't know.
It's the Hebrew, basically from Hebrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he also studied under the Persian sage Zoroaster, who was a really wise sage. And then he studied in southern Italy, and then he settled there, and he opened up a school, the School of Mysteries, which I find fascinating because what he taught was arithmetic, music, astronomy and geometry, and that was it. And you had to be skilled in those, or you couldn't be in there. And it was a secret school. Plato was a follower of Pythagoras, and sadly, it ended up burning down.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
things just don't burn
there.
down there.
Yeah.
He was old though, so a lot of learning came from it before it was burned down.
Okay.
And basically, he taught there that evolution is the law of life, and the number is the law of the universe, and unity is the law of God.
Okay.
Unity, Number one, unity. Yes. So, that's the
interesting. So the evolution part is what he believed in the traditional theory of evolution, or
no? He just believed it was numbers, all in the numbers. It was all in the science. It was all in nature. It was all the universe, and everything is a vibration, and everything evolves. And the evolution was the numbers 1 through 9. 1 being the ground, the 1, and the 9 being the culminating 9, the wisdom, and then it cycles back to 1.
Okay.
So everything fell in there.
Yeah, sacred geometry is super interesting.
Oh yeah.
Flower of life and all of that. When you start poking around,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and like the nautilus, the swirl that you find in seashells and flowers. Like when
everywhere.
You really get in,
it's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
We just have to look. It's all symbolic, and it's all symbols of ourselves. And it's funny. You'll see numbers that are specific for your life. I'll see them that are specific for me. And Joe down the street will have completely other set of numbers.
Yeah. Wow. So let's give the listeners something they can do for themselves, because I know with your birthday you can you can add some stuff up and then kind of find something out about yourself.
We can do that. So all right, so there's other numbers. It's not just one. We have so many numbers in our life and in our incarnation here, but we'll just do the main one.
Okay.
So this is the life lesson, or your life path, or your destiny.
Okay.
So this is the main one. We all have one. And like I said, that there's other numbers in there, that personality, but this is the main one. So what you do is you add your numbers, the complete numbers of your birthday.
Okay.
So
do you do it first of the month?
So we will do we'll do mine, for example. Okay. Or maybe I won't do mine because I won't tell my age.
Let's make up a date. Let's have a lucky listener who's listening. So let's how about March 14th? We'll give it a pi. 1972.
Okay. All right. So you would add 3 plus 1.
Okay. Let's see. 0. Well.
Yeah. 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 4 is 8.
Okay.
Plus 1 is 9.
And then you do 1972.
We're in 1972. Yep. Okay. So we gotta add those up.
All right. So here we're gonna get a calculator so we don't. Because I've seen it done.
Why 1972 are you choosing? Let me just ask you. Was it just some random birthday?
It was just a random.
Okay. Yeah.
Random.
Yeah. Good.
Number.
Perfect. We'll use this perfect.
Yeah, I've seen this done different ways, that they add these numbers separately.
Yeah, I add them separately.
Okay.
And there's different, like I said, there's different schools of numerology.
So the 3 and then a 5. Do you do 4 plus 1 is 5?
3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 4 is 8.
Okay. And then for this, 1972 is going to be 19.
8, 9, 10, 12. 27.
Yep.
So check it again.
So 27.
Okay, so that would be the total of that. Let's check it again with the calculator.
Okay.
So anybody's at home, so you check.
3 plus 14.
So anyone at home, if you take your birthday, write it down on a piece of paper, get out your iPhone, add every single number together individually, and you'll come up with a number. And it'll be a double digit. Okay.
27.
Yep. So everybody will have some kind of a double digit. Okay. Most people, you will have a double digit. But then you have to add those together to get the singular digit.
So that's
2 plus 7 is 9.
Is 9. This person
is a 9.
Is a 9.
Okay. Yep. So there's also the element of 7 and element of 2. So 7 is working through the 2, but we're not going to get there. That's another radio show.
Okay.
Okay. So this person would be a 9, and which would be the end of the cycle. Okay. So you know what I'd like to, if you come up, can I go through all of them? Do we have time?
Yeah, we have
that'd be
time.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting because people are going to get, 1 through 9, but then there's 2 numbers.
So if you get, you have to add them up unless you get an 11. So if you get an 11, folks, don't add them together. You have an 11. If you get a 22, don't add them.
Okay.
And if you get a 33, don't add them together. Those, yes, because today's a 33. It's a master number. It is a master number, which is great. I only know one master number in my life.
A person in your life?
Yeah, he's my brother, going through quite a time in his entire life, and he's the master number. So yeah. So remember, don't add the 11s, 22s, or 33s, but everything else, add them up until you get to a single digit. So every digit is either a feminine number or a masculine number. So all of the odd numbers are masculine, and all of the even numbers are feminine.
Okay.
So it has more of a feminine flair to it. And just think, even settle in yourself. What does masculine feel like to you, and what's feminine?
Yeah.
Everything is just energy. It really is an energy and a vibration. So number 1, if you got a number 1, or 28 would equal a number 1, or 37 would equal a number 1, or there's a pure 10, which is rare, but that's a number 1 as well. So you are, number 1, think about number 1. You're a pioneer. You're a born leader. You're original. You're strong-willed, creative. You're innovative. Your life lesson is to go forward and never turn back. And once you actually master this in your life and you can grasp those concepts, they'll keep coming back until you get it. I mean, even in my own life, I'm a 1.
I'm a 1 too.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're a 1.
Yeah.
So we're probably different. I think you were a 37. I can remember.
I'll just do it in the side.
But you will have challenges in your life that will make you be this, or I mean, I was in a really, really bad relationship when I was younger, and it took total power, or I gave my power up. In essence, I'm supposed to learn how to have power and be a leader. So once you actually get this number 1, then you will have pure God energy flowing through you, because you're really close to, that 1 is really close to God's source and God energy. And you are to step out of your comfort zone, whether you want to or not.
Like doing radio shows when
a
few years ago you get up and talk in front of a small group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just really putting yourself out and,
Interesting.
Pioneer, breaking ground, visionary, bucking the system, number 1s. If you have a 2, it's feminine. You are to, your life lesson or your life path or destiny is to be a peacemaker. You work together. It's 2, where 1 is 1. This is 2, working together, cooperative. You need to be a good mixer, adapt, bring people together for a common cause. Teaching is really common for 2s. Music and medicine are really good careers. So lots of healers with 2s, lots of healers.
Yeah, I need to find out the birthday of my chiropractor and see.
Yeah, see what it is. And if you have a 3, I have a lot of friends who are 3s. Creativity, self-expression. My sister's a 3. So I remember when she was a kid, she was the life of the party, and I couldn't understand why. Everybody loved her, gravitated, but she's a 3. She social butterfly. Her teacher called her a social butterfly, but not in a good way. She would get in trouble. But that's her. That's her core. That's who she is. Writers, poets, actors, musicians. So really, the life purpose of a 3 is to create, express, really express.
Okay.
Express, and they're lighthearted and they're whimsical. And if you're a 3 and you're not expressing yourself, you need to figure out how to do so.
So do you find like if a 3 is not expressing themselves for whatever reason, do they tend to be uncomfortable, or how does that? Their
life is not a lot. Either they're sick or they're blocked. One of their, they're blocked energetically somewhere in one of their chakras. Usually it's their throat.
Okay. So they
so it's vocal issues.
Interesting.
So when you are not feeling well, just look at your numbers and see how you align with your life purposes or your life, life destiny. Number 4, if you have a 4, you're supposed to be a hard worker, practical, down to earth. Justice and honesty, is in your blood. You're reliable and dependable. You are to build things. You're solid. You are the pillar of society, pillar of the town. You love order. Sometimes you can be inflexible, but that's, part of being that. And it is finding balance, because if these work against you, for example, ones are visionaries, they could be completely dominating and egotistical. So it's really finding balance and making that work for you. So 4s are dependable. They can be banking, an accountant, running a museum or a business is really good for 4s.
Okay.
5. 5. And this is it's also symbolic in what year you are. So if we have some time, I'll do that at the end. If you are 5, your key to your life path and destiny is freedom. But it's finding true freedom, not going crazy freedom. You need to experience all of life, everything. You love change. You love travel. Super motivating to others. You can be the master of ceremonies. Being in your presence is usually uplifting. From 5s, they're halfway back and halfway forward. So like they're in the mid. Yeah, and it's balance. If you think about midway, it's balance. It's finding balance, and they. You need to find balance because if 5 works against them, they could overeat, overuse drugs.
Okay.
And a lot of times they are attracted to the occult.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I know a 5, and she's not those things.
Oh.
I know. No, I mean she's not uplifting and not.
So how is her life?
Not a lot of anger.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's finding the balance, and it's really appreciating life and the senses and freedom and really true freedom from the inside out. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Great. And 6, I know a lot of 6s, compassionate.
Daughters of 6.
Yeah. Usually a lot of counselors.
Okay.
They are a great ear. People go to 6s for their ear. They want to provide service for others. They're healers, they're helpers, they're generous. And they're usually drawn to a career of service to help others, and lots of times they're counselors. A lot of counselors. And they just have to watch that. They also have to find balance, that they're not giving themselves away, and yes, they do too much. And
do you think a lot of them are empaths?
Yeah, I mean, we're all empaths.
But are they more sensitive, or?
The ones that I know, they're just really warm, and they just know how to reach you, or they know. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
7s are 7s. This is a great number. 7 is a wonderful number. 7s are seekers. They are usually quiet. They're searchers of truth. They go inward. They need to go inward. The goal is to investigate the unknown. They usually enjoy solitude and quiet. And, by the middle age, if 7s are found out, if they're embracing their 7 in a positive way that is, assisting them, they usually radiate refinement and wisdom. Yeah.
I feel like I identify with the 7 a little bit. I wonder if it's something with my year or
you have to look at, there's so many numbers. So maybe that is your personality numbers. It could be a 7.
Maybe. Okay.
Could be. And that's, like I said, there's so much depth into this. I mean, it's endless amount. And this is just a tool. This is not the end all be all, but it's such a great tool, and it's like a little tiny piece of a puzzle, of a bigger puzzle, and a bigger puzzle of yourself, and then the existence of us and our as a society, of where we are in our evolution. I mean, even our year 2015.
Yeah. This is
a
supposed
number.
to be a big year, right?
Well, every year is a big
year.
Every year is a big year. But it does have a vibration to it. It's all a vibration. An 8, you're a natural leader, but 8, I love 8s. 8's abundance, and usually it's abundance of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
abundance of money. You are allowed to have money if you're an 8. Embrace your ability to have money and to create
and
it.
Take your 1s and 2s out for dinner.
Oh yeah. But the cool thing is if you're, for example, if you're a 10, or 1, and 10s are 1. I forgot to say, if you're a 10, you're also a 1. You come up with a 10. So 28. Yeah. 28 would be you come up to a 28.
I was at 37.
Yeah, and
so
you're
that's a 10.
That's a 10. Yep.
And then, so what
is
that?
That's a 1. Okay,
yeah,
right.
So 10s are
1.
1, 0. I'm a 28,
Okay.
which is also a 10, also 1. Your 8s, so you have elements of these inside your number.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like
8's
37,
working.
so I said the 7.
There you go. There's
yeah.
very intuitive, Miss Megan.
There you go.
There you go. Yep. So I'm an 8, and I like abundance. And you know what? I like my Starbucks and paying $5 for a cup of coffee. You know, so 8's abundance. You can accumulate great wealth, management all areas, business, real estate, law, management of large institutions. So 8's, abundance. And that also can work against you too. I mean, you can, create the opposite. It's really all about finding balance. And 9, if you are a 9, you are at the end of this wonderful cycle. You're a humanitarian. You're compassionate. Your lesson is to really be sacrifice self for others for the greater good.
Like a Mother Teresa type,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
she spent her whole life.
And not wanting anything in return.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, and not really questioning why, and just kind of. And I know a 9 who sacrifices but always wants something back. So it's not necessarily working. It's finding the balance, and really, the life lesson and the life path is to just do it selflessly, and there's your reward, because you're helping, the human race.
So,
and ultimate wisdom, really.
Is there any thought to, do you do these in order? If you believe in reincarnation, you come back.
I know, we choose it before we incarnate. We choose our bodies. I believe we choose our body that'll help us. Some of us choose to be blind in one incarnation because they have to work on, maybe they're a master number 11, and we'll get to these numbers for a second. So if you are blind, you choose a blind body. You need, and if your life purpose is an 11, you're highly intuitive.
Okay.
So it's really to be intuitive and to sense and to be empathic and to be psychic and to and that blindness will help you. Will serve you.
Right.
So I don't know if we go out of order. That's a great question. I would not know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do feel like, truthfully, there is an order. There's an order of everything. This is about order. There's order to the cosmos. There's an order. So let's just quickly go into
these are the master.
So these are the master numbers. So if you get any of these folks out there, do not add them up.
Okay.
These are pure.
Yep.
Yeah. So 11, highly intuitive, energetic, inventors, prophets. Usually have high expectations of themselves, and they're their own worst enemy. We all are, but they're really super sensitive, and they're a highly charged 2. So number 2, 2s are empathic anyway and sensitive. These are just highly charged, and your work really is love thy neighbor as thyself. In 22, if you have a 22, you accomplish things in a big way. So go for the gusto, be big, be brave, work together. 2 and a 2. Be brave, work together. Master builders. And 33, great master number, field of science, medicine, healing. They need to be near nature, and they're quite like Christ-like consciousness. And they typically sacrifice their own desires for others, sometimes not consciously, and for others learning. And
Okay.
33. Yeah, so that's it.
Wow.
And so we are in master number 33.
We are.
Christ-like consciousness.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and we even had a little bit of interaction on the chat, which was fun. And somebody was an 8, and they said that they seem to identify with your description.
Yeah. So good. So embrace number 8. Embrace your abundance and use it for good. We're all here to take what we have and use it really for our highest good and the good of our earth.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
So in case you missed how to find out what your number is, you would write out your birthday in full. So if you're March 14th, 1972, you're going to add a 0, a 3, a 1, a 4, a 1, a 9, a 7, and a 2.
So whatever your birthday is, that's how you're going to add those up, and you're going to reduce it down until it's a single digit, unless it's one of these master
and the masters are 11, 22, and 33.
All right. And what other, the big ones, like this is what, like kind of your life purpose number?
Yeah, you have the soul, you have the soul flare, and you have your balance number, which is important. I mean, there's so much.
Really?
There's just so many. I couldn't even. You have your name, which has a vibration. There are so many out there.
There's just
a ton. But this is the main one. And if you're not getting something, go figure it out why. You have your soul number, your outer personality, you have your path of destiny. But this is the biggest one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big one. And how do you find, do you do much with astrology, which is...
No, I don't.
No? Okay, because
I just know I'm a fire sign. I'm Aries. And it's funny because Aries is one.
Aries.
Fire first.
All my
zodiac.
friends are Aries. Like I'm very much, my husband's an Aries, Rachel's an Aries. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
spend a lot of time with Aries.
And I'm sure they're intertwined. I don't like I'm more, I love the numbers. This is my thing.
Yeah.
So, in fact, we can go into, I don't know if you want to talk about 11/11 quickly.
Because we have kind of a treat for everybody, which is we have one of Jennifer's songs she composed, which is called 11/11. So tell us a little bit about what that number means to you and where that song came from. And then we're going to end our show today by playing that song in its entirety. So you can hear the whole thing. It's so nice of you to share that with everyone.
It's my pleasure. So 11/11, as I said before, I was starting to see 11s a lot in my journey, and I was noticing every time I would see 11/11, something would be going on energetically in my life, or I was switching a path, or I was tuning into something. And for me, 11/11 was knowing that I was on the right path, also a confirmation for what I was thinking at that particular time. That was like a yes. Also an energetic, just an attunement at that point. So I would just sit there and, when I figured out what it was to me, I would just sit there and be still and quiet while 11/11 was on and just breathe and just kind of take into that frequency. I also believe that 11/11 is symbolic for duality going into, the singular one. So everything is going into, we're not separate from each other. We are one. You are me, I am you. We are not separate. We are one. And, we're all starting to awaken to that.
Yeah.
Very slowly, but, I believe once you are awake, you can't go back to sleep.
No,
I'm sorry.
I found that out.
Sorry.
You're welcome. But that's okay, because then you meet new people who are also awake.
And they're also on your same vibration. So it's interesting. I knew I was going to have a big year this year, a big change, which is coming. And whether I want it to or not, it's coming. Because I'm in a 5, and I'm in the year of change. From your last birthday to the birthday that you're coming to is your year. You can look it up online, too. And I'm in a 5, and I'm in a year of change and freedom. And it's funny, I've been infatuated with 11/11 forever. And, I met somebody, and what's their birthday? 11/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, good friend,
Yeah.
So.
Wow. There's so much.
There's so much. All, as so much as my story is your story is just so much. We just have to pull it apart and embrace it.
Yeah.
So,
I do feel like it's just a little hunt for the puzzle pieces and then putting them together.
And there's your 7. There's your seeker.
Yeah. Right now I'm big in the seeking mode, And, it's hard at times because as an analytical person, I kind of want to know the answer. I'm used to math equations.
Right.
There's an answer. But with all of the seeking, there's not so much the answer. But a lot of hints.
A lot of hints.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll all find her way.
Yeah. Well, awesome.
Yeah. So thank you.
Well,
I
loved
coming on this
Thank you
show.
so
I have to host again with the 2 of you. With Rachel. That will be a trip.
We'll probably need the full 2 hours.
We will. That'll be
In
fun.
that case. But thank you so much for
You're welcome.
taking Rachel's spot today and for teaching us. And I'm so glad that your whole health crisis stuff
it seems
led you to where you're at and you're feeling well now.
Yeah, you know what? As long as I'm balanced and I'm taking care of myself and just really listening Really listening.
Yeah.
Listening to the space between thoughts and,
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, wonderful.
Thanks.
So, this show is part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and there's shows on every day of the week. And if you go to facebook.com and search Enlightenment Evolution Network, you can find out the shows that are coming up for the rest of the week. So, awesome. So we're going to end today's show by playing Jennifer Zulli's 1111, and this is off your latest CD, Goddess Rising, which you can find on iTunes.
Yep, there's a video on YouTube. You can find it there too. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
It's in 432 frequency, which is the frequency of the heart. So I changed this whole album, which is why it's so special. I changed it, bucked the system as the number one does. And all music is typically written in 440 hertz. This is moved down to 432.
Okay.
So it's the vibration of the earth.
Wow.
So this is why it sounds grounding to people, I think.
Yeah.
So, 1111.
I do. I find it calming. Doesn't put me to sleep. I find it engaging. Yeah. Meditative. Yeah.
Thanks.
So wonderful. All right. Well, thank you. And Rachel will be back next week, and we'll be talking, I believe, about past life regression.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you for listening. Have a great day.
you.